Hi, welcome back. Today we have coach and previous player, Coach Sam Daghlas. Kifa coach.
Alhamdulillah, pleasure.
Okay, so first is that you can tell us a bit about yourself, about your background in basketball, please.
I started as a football player, like everybody else that grew up in Jordan, and then I was lucky enough for my parents to decide to go abroad and live in the U.S. at a young age, 8 years old, and I noticed a shift in the sport over there, and I fell in love with the game of basketball.
Okay.
And I was really interested in that game, and to make a long story short, I left football and went to the basketball, and the rest is history. And had for some people say, a successful basketball career.
Some people. MashaAllah. At what age would you think, you started competing seriously and you thought like, okay, this is my sport, I want to do my best?
Look, I was the third, maybe fourth best player on my high school team.
Okay.
We had a stacked team, and I saw the hunger in myself that I want to get better. And I was lucky enough that I was a hungry kid, and every year I became better. And by my senior year, I was the only one that was able to move on to college and play college basketball. Although I wasn't the most talented as a freshman and sophomore, but the hard work. And I knew after high school, I want to take this seriously.
Okay.
But I had no idea what seriously meant back then. You know what I mean? Whoever was in front of me and told me you need to do that in this, I believed them, because
you didn't have much experience.
We didn't have that much experience. We didn't have social media. So anybody, any coach, any pro player that told you need to do 1, 2, 3, I'm doing it the next day.
Okay, at that turning point in your career, would you how demanding was your training? How hard did you have to work, to get to your goals?
I tell you, the turning point of my life, I think, when I got in a car accident, me and my dad in the car, and I had to sit out my first year in college and not go to college because I had to help the family because my dad couldn't walk for a whole year. And then I was introduced to a coach. It was similar to an AAU coach called Gene Helliker, and he had a program called High Five America. So basically, he gets top-notch athletes and that are looking to go to college, but they didn't get any scholarships.
Didn't get exposure.
No exposure, and he takes them. And prior to every season in college, they play friendly games, preseason games, and they play against teams like us, High Five America. And that's where my exposure started. And I went under his wings. He taught me about player development, skills work, dedication in the weight room. And then from there, man, I just
took off,
implemented everything to the T.
Okay. Did you, as a kid maybe, or maybe as like in that college level, did you think you got the enough importance of recovery? Did you understand it? Did you have enough exposure about it? Or did that come later in your career, maybe as older or into your adult professional career, let's say?
I think both. I think recovery has developed into a place where we never thought it existed. I think you have to take it for what it is at that moment. So if you're playing in when I was in 2003 in college, whatever we had back then, you took it and you ran with it. You know what I mean? But if you're going to compare back then to today, complete different, 180, developed to the extreme.
It's like a different story. It's
different
like
story,
it's a different term even maybe.
It's completely like the recovery that you do nowadays. You probably needed a full week to be able to be recovered the way you'd be recovered in 24 hours. Today. So it's a complete difference. But I always say you have to do your research, and you have to know what works for your body.
So not everybody's the same.
Not everybody's the same. No, not everybody, because you have people that can eat anything and still go out there and perform and score 40.
Yeah.
You have people that can't eat anything for their body to be able to give them adapt and give them that 40 minutes in the game.
Okay. When you think you took that to the next level, as let's say one of the top players in the country, how important was your recovery in your training routine? What did it look like?
Huge. My lifting routine was very important. My skill work in the morning was very important. My recovery was as important. I remember when I first came here, we didn't have the quality gyms here. So I had a membership at the Royale hotel because
Okay.
they had the jacuzzi, they had the pools, and they had the gym, the steam room, the sauna. So I used to do all that, and I used to also get their massages as well.
Okay.
So that was my recovery because that we didn't have the great gyms that we have now. So I made sure that I used that kind of aspect, but they didn't have the cryotherapy. They didn't have the things that they have in today's era. But it helped me a lot. It was huge.
Yeah. So yeah, and you would say, recovery did a huge role, or was a main aspect in your routine.
Yeah, I always say recovery starts before the game rather than after the game because what
Okay.
you eat and
The-
how you prep for the game,
Determines what happens after.
that will happen
100%.
after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people will think, oh, let me think about it after. No, because if you don't have a good warm up, if you don't eat properly, if you don't hydrate properly,
Nothing's gonna go
nothing's
well.
gonna go. Even your recovery is gonna be like shit, anyways.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
That's fine. Now, from a coaching perspective,
Yeah.
how important, what should the athlete's recovery to training ratio should be, maybe?
Look, it all depends on the load. I always say, understand the load, understand how many times you're going hard throughout the week. Because as a coach, let's say we have a game at the end of the week, we're going to have 4 practices. Out of those 4 days, you have 2 hard days, 1 mediocre, medium level, and then 1 probably a walkthrough. So after the 2 a day, the 2 hard ones, you want them to get a great recovery.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you want them to have another recovery the night before the game. So me as a coach, I preach that a lot, and I make sure the strength and conditioning and physical therapists that I'm working with understand that and make sure that they implement that to the athletes. Because
Okay.
last thing I want to see, athlete body giving out because of the recovery state.
Yeah,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
okay. Why do you think recovery or educating young athletes about recovery is important, especially because they're in a period of growth and they might not know what their body needs?
Look, to be an athlete, it is extremely hard. Like you have a better chance to become a doctor and a surgeon than become an athlete.
Okay.
The rates and the percentages against you. So you have to do everything you can in your hands and utilize all the resources in the Mujahideen that we have to have the best chance at it.
Okay.
From training, from nutrition, from recovery as well. Because if you're not recovered, you're not able to wake up 6 in the morning
Yeah.
and do it again. If you're not recovered, you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're not hydrated, you're not getting the massages, you're not doing the activations, you're not gonna be able to perform in the game. So everything is all together.
Everything's correlated.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people think, okay, if I recover, I don't have to lift. If I lift, I don't have to recover. If I'm playing great, I don't have to recover. No, no, no.
Everything needs recovery.
Yeah,
Your
this
body
is a
needs that
routine.
rest.
This is a ritual that you have to stick by.
Yeah. Would you think that young athletes, maybe you could say from your coaching experience in Jordan, especially young athletes, do they have a correct understanding of recovery, or is that like that understanding of recovery like I had, that recovery only happened after injury? Okay, I sprained my ankle, I need to recover from that.
To be honest opinion, I think it's a lack in the Jordanian community in our country, not from just you young players, even all the way up to our top athletes. Even our top athletes, only few of them take it seriously, and only few of them implement the recovery correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a shame just because of how much data we got out there and how much resources out there that's proven that recovery is as important, and our young athletes are not taking advantage of it and helping their cause and helping their game.
Okay, so and you would say, no, these athletes maybe like slack off recovery or
Yeah,
lazy towards it.
I think they don't take it as seriously. They think, oh, okay, let me go ahead and maybe and stretch. Oh, let me go ahead and foam roll. It's okay. It's like they bypass time rather than actually do it.
Actually recovery.
You know
okay.
what I mean?
So they just do it for the sake of doing it.
For the sake, but
yeah.
don't understand that it's how important it is. Like,
Okay.
let's say you're doing a foam roller, for example, and you feel a knot. You got to really stay on it, and you cannot get off that knot till it's loose.
It's loose,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So all that matters.
I think a lot of young athletes, certainly nowadays, think that the more training, the better. Always training hard, always training day after day, multiple practices a day even. What would you say to that specific group of athletes?
I always say, whatever you sign up for, stick to it. Every athlete has a different goal. Every athlete's body responds differently. But definitely you never want to overdo it.
Okay.
With some athletes, less means more. With other athletes, more is more. You know what I mean? So there isn't a perfect answer for this, because if people looked at my regiment, they probably said I overworked.
Okay.
But it worked for me.
Yeah. So it might not work for somebody else though.
Exactly. So I would always say, what is the goal? How long is the period? And can my body really handle this load?
Yeah.
And you can always do adjustment in the middle.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But I always say, you cannot start off right off the bat. Less is more. We have to push the body to the limit to know this is his limit. And now we can take steps back.
So the most important thing you would say is understanding your body.
You got
getting to know what you can do, what's good for you.
100%. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I had athletes that loved working out at midnight, 11 at night. I couldn't. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? I'm a morning person. I love morning practice. It doesn't mean that I went through a stage where I used to work out at night and go play basketball late at night till 1 a.m. But I mean, as I got older in my career, I preferred morning workouts. I preferred to be either on the court at 6 a.m., in the weight room at 6 a.m., or on the beach running at 6 a.m. I really enjoyed that. You know what I mean? Something that my body responded well. There's some people that body cannot get going early in the morning.
Okay. I think I was one of these athletes growing up until I got the correct answer for this. We used to think that you can't do strength training or weightlifting mid-season, and we would always hear it's going to hurt your back, it's going to hurt your muscles, it's just going to give a bigger overload against your body. What's the misconception behind that theory, let's say, everyone has?
With all due respect, experience. We don't have enough experienced people that know about this. I always say you have to listen to people that have done it at the high level, because if you get to a certain high level, so that means something worked for you. That means you've been around enough high-level athletes, coaches, trainers that taught you the right way. Unfortunately, here, some of our
low percentage.
Some of our trainers, nothing against our trainers and our coaches, they haven't been around these top-notch athletes that played at the high level. You know what I mean? To know that in-season lifts are as important as an off-season.
Off-season lift.
It's part of it, you know what I mean? This is how you can last 5 months in the season. This is how when the playoff comes around, you're not fatigued, you're not tired. You're able to go through a 5-game series, you know what I mean? So this is what I will say. It's the ignorance of not having enough experienced people in our field. And it's changing, but this is why it's so important having the right personnel around you that have done it or have worked with their high elite levels. Okay.
Do you think there's a common misconception or things مثلا خلينا نحكي الأثليتس بيجاهلوه لما يسووا recovery, or they think إنه okay خلاص this isn't important, I can skip it, or okay I shouldn't get this much sleep, or something like that.
Okay, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, yeah, it's fine. What's something that athletes بيجاهلوه, they ignore it because they think okay it's something minor, but in reality it's a major part, especially of recovery, so they can perform better.
Very, very good question. I would say it might sound silly, hydration and the correct nutrition right after a game.
Okay, so what does that look like? Like hydration?
Hydration, how much fluids you should intake right after, and what are the electrolytes? What exactly your body needs right after, and then what type of food you should intake, because that's part of the recovery. You know what I mean? Because you put so much stress on your body for the amount of, let's say the game is 4 quarters, 40 minutes. It takes about an hour and a half, correct? You were in the arena an hour before. So technically for the past 3 hours, your body hasn't been able to take anything. You know what I mean? Like no kind of protein, no kind of food, no anything, just water, or maybe a Gatorade. After the game, you got to replenish that body.
Yeah, you got to recharge.
Yes, the cold tub. Yes, the massages. Yes, the stretching. Yes, some lifts are required after a game or practice. But the nutrition and hydration is as important thing. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So those two things I would say.
Okay.
You know, because some people that are like, okay, let me go, and they'll just drink a water, and they'll go have, let's say,
a pizza after the
pizza
game
or whatever, like not knowing, okay, I do need carbs, but what kind of protein do I get, and what source of protein do I need? Do I need a fish? Do I need it in fish?
It differs from source to source. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I know we said it differs from athlete to athlete, but what's one recovery habit you think that stuck with you, especially as an athlete playing at that top level? You think, okay, this always has helped me.
Okay, I will do cold tubs or cryotherapy, whatever I have access to, and massages.
Okay.
Yeah. And one thing I live by, I used to always lift right after the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you explain a bit more to this?
In this one, I got induced to it in 2013. I think James Dwight Howard, when he was with the Houston Rockets, I don't remember when he was exactly, and they talked about because he had some trouble with his knees, that they started doing some lifts with him right after the game and helped him feel better the next day to perform.
Yeah.
So I asked my trainer, he said, let's try it. I started doing it at the time I was playing in China. I started doing it, and I literally would wake up the next morning like I didn't play a game.
Felt like a different
I
person.
felt great, you know what I mean? And a funny story, like I used to, before every game, after shoot around, I used to go do a cold tub and then go take my nap.
Okay.
So like I didn't wait till after the game, I used to do it cold tub and then go take a nap, wake up, eat my lunch, do whatever I need, and then get to the
And then
arena
get to the
early.
game.
Yeah, and then I used to do it again, cold tub after the game.
So before and
After,
after.
yes.
Okay.
But massages were very important. I used to get like 3 massages a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're very important.
They relax the muscles, maybe.
Relax,
a bit,
make sure the muscles are moving smoothly. There's no knots. There's nothing holding you back. There's no stiffness in your neck, shoulders, hamstring, any of that stuff.
I think going back on that point of lifting after games, I think a lot of people can see it as scary, maybe more than the athletes, the parents. They're okay. My son just had the game. He's going to the gym. What's he going to do? What is he doing?
Right.
That sounds wrong, to be honest.
Correct. But we go back to what? The education aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I
The
mean?
lack of
Ignorance and,
education.
lack of knowledge. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't blame the parents. My dad didn't allow me to lift weights till I got to college. You know what I mean? He just didn't believe I needed to. Now it's different. Now any kid that sits in my office, if he's above the age of 12, I'm like, yeah, he needs to be in the weight room. If he's under, he needs to be doing a lot of coordination drills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he needs to be coordinated.
Because that lack of education, it might step an athlete back, make him, and he missed that important step in his growth as an athlete.
100%. It's important. And as you know, Jihad, everything matters when you're trying to become an athlete because everybody's trying to get the edge. So you have to be on top of it. You know what I mean? You have to understand, okay, there's a new way of training, there's a new way of recovery. I need it because I want to have the edge. I want to be the first to try it.
Yeah, you want to be the best at least.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Why would I allow another player to have the edge on me? Even in recovery, I will never allow that.
Yeah, that's a little bit of the competitive aspect.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of people think that we need to just be competitive about the actual game. Well, if I recover better than X, I'm going to be better ready for him the next day. You know
next
what I mean?
game, yeah. So
So
eventually
everything
you're
matters.
going to play better.
Yeah.
Mid-season, I think we've heard this term a lot as athletes, always listen to your body. I think mid-season, this, let's say, quote or whatever it is, comes into play. How important is an athlete how important is it to an athlete that he listens to his body, especially maybe after a tight period where he has 2 games in 2 days or 2 practices and 1 game in a short amount of time?
Look, it all depends on the athlete and how long the athlete been doing it for and how many trainings been around him. Like you can't tell an athlete that just got into the game and he's been playing basketball for 2 years and doesn't really understand his body, listen to your body, because he might think soreness means I need to sit down.
Okay.
But in reality, mid-season to end of season, fatigue. Everybody's going to be fatigued.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be tired.
Going to be
You know what
tired.
I mean?
But
But it doesn't mean that I need to sit and I need to stop playing, stop working. So whatever you have left in the tank, you got to use it wisely. You got to be smart. You know what I mean? Because there's nobody going to be fresh at the end of the season if their team is going to make it to the finals. You know what I mean?
So everyone's going to be fatigued, but it's just how you spread your efforts around what to do each.
Right. But I can't come and bring to a new kid that's just been playing basketball for 2 years, something that's in his body. But I didn't teach him what does his body really means, you know what I mean? And I've never pushed him to the limit of quitting or to a level where he can't even walk out of the gym because his legs are so tired. So now you're making these kids quit earlier than
what they need to be.
Than what they need to be.
Yeah. Especially because they're still young. They still have a long way ahead of them.
Right.
I think especially sports at this age, it defines who a person is.
Exactly.
It makes up their personality.
Right,
it's a big social part of life.
We always say, like my comment, if there's pain, we listen. Soreness, we're okay.
Soreness is part of the game.
Part of the game.
At the end of the day.
Pain, we stop, acknowledge, figure out a solution.
And finally, what advice or message would you give to an athlete who wants to train hard, but also wants to make it to the top level for a long amount of time?
Set your goal. What is the absolute goal that you want? And work backwards.
Work backwards.
Correct.
What does that mean?
If I want to make the NBA, what is if the goal is the NBA? What is required? Everything
before the NBA.
Before the
steps
NBA.
Before the NBA. Okay.
Everything from the workouts, the exposure, the traveling, every little thing, and then you can come down and understand how hard that goal is and is it realistic or not.
Yeah.
Because I could tell you need to train twice, you need to do all that, you need all that, but what is the actual goal first? You know what I mean? Because let's say, for example, I want to play in the Jordanian league and I'm a Jordanian, you can train once a week. I mean, once a day, you could probably play in the Jordanian league, 100%. But if you tell me you want to go compete at the college level in the US, I'm going to tell
bigger
you,
leagues.
You're going to go and be D1. How many hours these D1 players train? And you're going to see. You're like, oh shit. How many times do they lift? Okay. How's their schedule?
It's so much different.
And you're going to understand like, okay. So this is what I need to do. Even if I live in Jordan, I need to be training 4 to 5 hours a day.
Because even maybe the best player in Jordan can be an average player in bigger leagues.
Exactly.
Or
and it's not his fault. He just does not get pushed and train hard enough like those guys.
He's not in the correct environment to do so.
Exactly.
I think we go back to the aspect of lack of education as well.
Right.
The basketball side.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Coach Sam, it's been a pleasure.
I love it, baby.
Thank you so much.